What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video on Managing Oneself by Peter F. Drucker. So we will go ahead and read the next part of this book, and then we will dive into the concepts and discuss them. What are my strengths? Most people think they know what they are good at. They are usually wrong. More often, people know what they are not good at, and even then, more people are wrong than right. And yet a person can perform only from strength. One cannot build performance on weaknesses, let alone on something one cannot do at all. Throughout history, people have had little need to know their strengths. A person was born into a position and a line of work. The peasant's son would also be a peasant, the artisan's daughter an artisan's wife, and so on. But now people have choices. We need to know our strengths in order to know where we belong. The only way to discover your strengths is through feedback analysis. Whenever you make a key decision or take a key action, write down what you expect will happen. 9 or 12 months later, compare the actual results with your expectations. I've been practicing this method for 15 to 20 years now, and every time I do it, I am surprised. The feedback analysis showed me, for instance, and to my great surprise, that I have an intuitive understanding of technical people, whether they are engineers or accountants or market researchers. It also showed me that I don't really resonate with generalists. Feedback analysis is by no means new. It was invented sometime in the 14th century by an otherwise totally obscure German theologian and picked up quite independently, some 150 years later, by John Calvin and Ignatius of Loyola, each of whom incorporated it into the practice of his followers. In fact, the steadfast focus on performance and results that this habit produces explains why the institutions these two men founded, the Calvinist Church and the Jesuit order, came to dominate Europe within 30 years. Practice consistently. This simple method will show you within a fairly short period of time, maybe 2 or 3 years, where your strengths lie. And this is the most important thing to know. The method will show you what you are doing or failing to do that deprives you of the full benefits of your strength. It will show you where you are not particularly competent. And finally, it will show you where you have no strengths and cannot perform. Several implications for action follow from feedback analysis. First and foremost, concentrate on your strengths. Put yourself where your strengths can produce results. Second, work on improving your strengths. Analysis will rapidly show where you need to improve skills or acquire new ones. It will also show the gaps in your knowledge, and those can usually be filled. Mathematicians are born, but everyone can learn trigonometry. Third, discover where your intellectual arrogance is causing disabling ignorance and overcome it. Far too many people, especially people with great expertise in one area, are contemptuous of knowledge in other areas or believe that being bright is a substitute for knowledge. First-rate engineers, for instance, tend to take pride in not knowing anything about people. Human beings, they believe, are much too disorderly for the good engineering mind. Human resources professionals, by contrast, often pride themselves on their ignorance of elementary accounting or quantitative methods altogether. But taking pride in such ignorance is self-defeating. Go to work on acquiring the skills and knowledge you need to fully realize your strengths. It is equally essential to remedy your bad habits, the things you do or fail to do that inhibit your effectiveness and performance. Such habits will quickly show up in the feedback. For example, a planner may find that his beautiful plans fail because he does not follow through on them. Like so many brilliant people, he believes that ideas move mountains. But bulldozers move mountains. Ideas show where the bulldozers should go to work. This planner will have to learn that the work does not stop where the plan is completed. He must find people to carry out the plan and explain it to them. He must adapt and change it as he puts it into action. And finally, he must decide when to stop pushing the plan. At the same time, feedback will also reveal when the problem is a lack of manners. Manners are the lubricating oil of an organization. It is a law of nature that two moving bodies in contact with each other create friction. This is as true for human beings as it is for inanimate objects. Manners, simple things like saying please and thank you, and knowing a person's name or asking after her family, enable two people to work together whether they like each other or not. Bright people, especially bright young people, often do not understand this. If analysis shows that someone's brilliant work fails again and again, as soon as cooperation from others is required, it probably indicates a lack of courtesy. That is, a lack of manners. Comparing your expectations with your results also indicates what not to do. We all have a vast number of areas in which we have no talent or skill and little chance of becoming even mediocre. In those areas, a person, and especially a knowledge worker, should not take on work, jobs, and assignments. One should waste as little effort as possible on improving areas of low competence. It takes far more energy and work to improve from incompetence to mediocrity than it takes to improve from first-rate performance to excellence. And yet most people, especially most teachers and most organizations, concentrate on making incompetent performers into mediocre ones. Energy, resources, and time should go instead to making a competent person into a star performer. All right, you guys, so what we're breaking down are basically what are your strengths? What are my strengths? And then instead of phrasing it as in weaknesses, which it could be that, we address it as what are some skills that I could learn? What are some things that I could learn to develop in my tasks at hand or for my occupation per se? And, in learning those things, whether it's people skills, how to talk to people, certain skills that require math, reading, writing, talking, understanding the literature, for example, understanding the equation, those are all going to take skills and time invested into those particular set of skills. So, and that can go for anything, whether it's in the workforce, your schooling, your job per se. I mean, I think this part of the book really kind of explained it. And then you get that feedback analysis on what are some things that you can work on, and I think this part of the book really summed it up nicely. So really, I guess the question is that I'm going to leave with you guys. You guys can discuss it down below in the comments. Are what are your strengths and what are some skills that you could work on? And with that, guys, let's go ahead and start a discussion down below. Leave me a comment, and we'll go from there. Lastly, thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.